It was supposed to be an ordinary Saturday afternoon, the kind of family gathering where nothing dramatic ever happens. The smell of barbecue filled the air. Kids chased each other across the lawn with sticky hands from melted popsicles. And the grown-ups laughed too loudly at old jokes they'd told 100 times before. My uncle was at the grill, bragging as always that nobody could flip a burger like he could. My mum fussed over the dessert table, rearranging the pies as if they were on display in a bakery. Everything looked and felt so normal, so harmless. I walked into the backyard balancing a bowl of pasta salad, smiling as cousins waved and called out hellos. I thought I knew exactly how the day would go. A few laughs, some small talk, maybe a family photo at the end. I wasn't prepared for what was coming. I had no idea that beneath the laughter and chatter, there was a storm waiting to break. It happened when the drinks started flowing and people settled into their seats. Someone suggested a round of toasts. Just light-hearted things. Cheers to good food and good company. My cousin Jenna, who loved being the loudest voice in any room, immediately grabbed her glass. She tapped it against a bottle so hard the sound cut through the air like a bell. The backyard went quiet. Everyone turned, expecting one of Jenna's usual over-the-top speeches. She was known for them. Funny, dramatic, full of jokes that made people groan. But this time was different. She smirked, her eyes flicking toward me for just a moment before landing squarely on my sister, Emily. Slowly, deliberately, she raised her glass high and said, "Here's to the real daughter, the one who stayed, the one who didn't run away when things got tough." The words hit me like a punch to the chest. For a second, I thought maybe I'd misheard her. Maybe she was joking. But the silence that followed told me otherwise. My aunt's jaw tightened like she was holding back a comment. My mom's smile froze in place, not reaching her eyes anymore. Even the kids paused in their play, sensing something wasn't right. And me? I felt like I'd just been slapped across the face, in front of everyone I loved. My cheeks burned, my stomach twisted, and all I could think was, how dare she? To understand why Jenna's words cut so deep, you have to know what happened years before that barbecue. I left home when I was just 18, not because I didn't love my family, but because life inside that house felt like a prison. My dad's rules were suffocating, his punishments often cruel, and my mom, though I know she loved us, was too scared of him to ever stand up for me. Every day, I felt like I was shrinking, like my voice didn't matter, like I couldn't breathe. One night, after yet another argument that ended in slammed doors and silent tears, I made my choice. I stuffed clothes into a worn-out backpack, grabbed the little cash I had saved, and walked out the front door. I told myself I was leaving to survive, to find freedom, to finally start living life on my own terms. But leaving didn't make me the villain. At least, that's what I thought. My younger sister Emily stayed behind. She was the good daughter. She followed the rules, never talked back, and carried the weight of keeping peace in that house. While I was out there scraping together a life from nothing, Emily became the quiet hero. Family members started comparing us, though rarely to my face. Emily was the one who stuck it out, the one who sacrificed, the one who held everything together, and me. I became the selfish one, the girl who abandoned her family for her own comfort. What no one ever asked was how hard those years were for me. They didn't see the nights I cried myself to sleep in a tiny drafty apartment because I couldn't afford heat. They didn't know what it felt like to skip meals so I could pay rent, or the exhaustion of working 3 jobs just to keep the lights on. Every scar, every tear, every ounce of strength it took to survive on my own was invisible to them. So when Jenna stood up at that barbecue, lifted her glass, and toasted Emily as the real daughter, it wasn't just a careless comment. It was as if she erased my entire journey with a single sentence. Every struggle I endured, every sacrifice I made, It all meant nothing to her, and that was the kind of wound that didn't just sting in the moment. It cut deep enough to reopen every old scar I thought I had already healed. The silence that followed Jenna's toast was the kind that presses down on your chest and makes it hard to breathe. For a long moment, no one moved. I could feel the weight of dozens of eyes darting between me and Emily. Like everyone was waiting for a reaction, but terrified of being the first to speak. Emily's face turned pale. Her hands trembled as she set her drink down and whispered, barely audible, "Jenna, don't." Her voice cracked, and I could tell she hated what was happening. But Jenna only laughed, a sharp, dismissive laugh that cut through the stillness. "What? I'm just saying what everyone's been thinking all these years," she said, looking around as if she expected nods of agreement. "Emily's the real daughter. She never abandoned this family." That word again, abandoned. It was like a match struck inside me, igniting every hidden hurt I had buried for years. For so long, I had bitten my tongue, swallowed my feelings, and let people rewrite my story. I told myself it wasn't worth the fight. But in that moment, standing there, humiliated in front of every aunt, uncle, cousin, and neighbor, I couldn't stay silent anymore. I stood up so quickly. My chair scraped against the deck. My hands shook, but my voice, to my own surprise, came out steady. "You think I abandoned this family. You think walking away was betrayal. Let me tell you something, Jenna. Leaving wasn't betrayal. It was survival." Gasps rippled across the yard. Even the kids who had been running and laughing moments ago stopped in their tracks, their wide eyes fixed on me. "You didn't live in my shoes," I continued, my voice rising with every word. "You didn't know what it was like to feel suffocated every single day in that house. To feel like your spirit was being crushed, piece by piece. I left because I had to. I left because staying would have broken me. Don't you dare stand here and twist my choice into abandonment." I turned to Emily, my anger softening as I met her tearful eyes. "You're strong for staying, Em, but don't let them use you as a weapon against me. You don't deserve that, and I don't deserve to be shamed for saving my own life." For the first time, I saw tears spill down my sister's cheeks. She shook her head, her voice breaking as she whispered, "I never thought you abandoned us. I just missed you." And in that moment, I realized the battle wasn't really between me and her. It was against the story everyone else had written for us. After my outburst, the barbecue never returned to its cheerful rhythm. The laughter that had once filled the backyard felt forced now, replaced by awkward silences and hushed whispers. Some people avoided looking at me altogether, while others exchanged quick glances, as though deciding whose side to take. The smell of grilled burgers still lingered in the air, but the warmth of the gathering had evaporated. Jenna, who had started it all, suddenly looked small and out of place. She fidgeted with her glass and muttered, "I didn't mean it like that," though her eyes didn't meet mine. But her words felt empty, like a bandage slapped over a wound too deep to cover. The damage was already done. As the evening wound down and people began gathering their things, I quietly helped my mom clear the table. For years, conversations between us had been stiff, full of unspoken things, but that night something shifted. When I picked up my bag to leave, she stopped me. Without a word, she pulled me into a hug, tight, lingering, and full of emotion I hadn't felt from her in years. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "I'm sorry. I should have defended you a long time ago." Those simple words nearly broke me. For the first time in forever, I felt truly seen. Not as the runaway, not as the so-called bad daughter, but as someone who made a hard, painful choice and survived it. It wasn't forgiveness I had been waiting for. It was acknowledgement. And finally, I had it. Outside, Emily walked me to my car. The air was cool, carrying the faint sound of crickets in the distance. She slipped her arm around mine and said gently, "Next time, don't wait until someone takes a cheap shot. Tell your story first. People need to hear it. Her words sank deep. She was right. For too long, I had let other people tell my story, twisting it into something ugly. That night, though painful, gave me the courage to finally claim it as my own. Because sometimes, family isn't defined by who stayed or who left. It's defined by who chooses to understand, to forgive and to love despite it all. And in that moment, standing beside my sister in the quiet night, I realized something powerful. I was no less of a daughter for leaving. If anything, I was stronger because I had survived it.